Hi, this is Richard Fields with this week's report from the fields. Our democracy is in danger if Trump is elected according to Democrats. They may be right. They would also be right in making the same charge if Kamala gets elected. Never mind that actually we're a republic with democracy limited by checks and balances and a constitution to prevent dictatorial majority from a third world one election. We get to rule in perpetuity syndrome. The issue Democrats want you to forget is that a democracy, however constructed or limited, needs free speech to function properly. And Democrats are saying the quiet part out loud. They oppose free speech that they disagree with. Former Democratic Senator, presidential candidate, and Secretary of State John Kerry, speaking to the World Economic Forum, said, "But look, if people go to only one source, and the source they go to is sick and has an agenda, and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to hammer it out of existence." Former presidential spouse, Democratic candidate for president, senator, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, in a CNN interview, said she wants to get rid of Section 230, which protects internet platforms from being sued for what their users of the platform say. She said, and I quote, "If the platforms don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control." Total control, that's what it's about. Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren are also calling for weakening Section 230. But don't worry, freedom of speech is an equal opportunity target. Donald Trump wants to repeal Section 30 also. It's not really necessary. As the Twitter files convincingly demonstrated during the Biden-Harris administration, federal regulatory and law enforcement agencies, from the FBI to the Department of Homeland Security to the National Institutes of Health, got the various platforms from Twitter to Facebook to YouTube to crumple like cheap suits under the implied threat of more onerous regulation. And it's not just in the United States. In Ireland, Britain, Brazil, Australia, and elsewhere, there are serious government efforts to drastically limit free speech. This just in Brazil, the Brazilian effort to limit free speech apparently has been helped by the Biden administration sending FBI people to help Brazil figure out how to do it properly. Censor, that is. This reporter has felt the effects. Prior to 2020, my posts on Facebook received hundreds of likes and shares. After I started posting serious questions about the government's narrative on COVID, my posts mysteriously stopped being reposted. Incidentally, most of my posts criticizing COVID policy turned out to be correct and correctly identify the lies that we were being told by the self-same government that was censoring me. Yes, democracy is at risk in this election, but more to the point, free speech is at risk no matter who wins. And without free speech, democracy, any variety of democracy, becomes a dead letter. That's this week's report from the fields. I'm Richard Fields. See you again next week if I make it past the censors.